Hello, I'm Gerard Floriano, Artistic Director of Finger Lakes Opera. Now, performing music and listening to great recordings have always been an inspiration to me. As a kid, some of my favorite memories are of evenings spent with my family singing around the piano or listening to the latest, greatest vinyl LP. So with that in mind, I thought it might be fun to share some of my favorite historic opera recordings with you from my personal sound library. I'll start with a 1957 Capitol Records recording of Suor Angelica by Puccini. This one act sits between Il Tabarro and Gianni Schicchi when it's done as part of the original triple bill known as Il Trittico. Now, the piece had its premiere at the Metropolitan Opera House in December of 1918. Now just think about that for a second. December of 1918 was practically right in the middle of the most devastating pandemic of the 20th century. And there we have, in the middle of that outbreak, the world premiere of a brand new opera from one of the great masters of the genre, Puccini. Now, how welcome and important that moment must have been for opera and music lovers. Today, we're experiencing a similar response with the contemporary twists. Artists and musicians of all sorts presenting their works on social media in order to inspire and lift up a world full of concern and worry about what the future may bring. Now, I have complete faith that, like 1918, we will get past this crisis together, stronger and wiser, and when we do, music and the arts will be there for us. Now, about this historic recording. It features two of the most important operatic artists of the early to mid-20th century, Italian conductor Tullio Serafin, and perhaps the greatest Suor Angelica of all time, Catalonian soprano Victoria de los Angeles. Now, Serafin is one of my conducting inspirations. He was a master of the bel canto and the verismo styles and possessed a refined elegance and polish in his conducting, but he was never lacking in passion. Now, at the time of this recording, we hear de Los Angeles, undoubtedly one of the greatest sopranos of the 20th century, but at just 34 years old, she is just coming into her own as a great artist. Now, the story of Suor Angelica centers around, of course, Sister Angelica, who has been sent to the convent to live by her family because she bore a child out of wedlock. Now, a great deal of the charm and the beauty of this opera happens in the first two-thirds of the opera as the sisters go about their daily lives and their routines, and they interact with each other, and they have a simple joy and a love for each other and a love for life which is full of warmth and humanity. Now, toward the end of this one-act opera, Sister Angelica is visited by her aunt. It's the first time she's been visited by anyone for 7 years, and her aunt tells her the horrifying news that 2 years previously, Angelica's child, a son, was stricken with a horrible sickness and has died. In her anguish and her distress, Angelica resolves that there is only one way, one option left for her to ever see her son again. So she is possessed with a sort of a spiritual ecstasy as she makes a poison from her herb garden and she drinks it. But the act of suicide seems to free her from her exaltation which had possessed her, bringing her back to reality. In this clarity, she realizes what she has done, and she screams in agony to the sisters that she has committed a grievous act, the great sin of suicide. Next, we hear an offstage prayer which the sisters sing, asking for forgiveness for Angelica. At the absolute height of the musical climax, and just as Sister Angelica is about to die, there is a brilliant, blinding light, and the figure of the Virgin and a young boy appear to Angelica. In Puccini's words in the score, he writes, "The Virgin gently and kindly pushes the child towards the dying mother. Suor Angelica then dies." This is the final scene from Puccini's Suor Angelica, recorded in 1957 at the Opera House in Rome, with Victoria de los Angeles singing the role of Suor Angelica and Tullio Serafin conducting the orchestra and chorus of the Rome Opera House.